Welcome to One Word a Day. I'm Sophie, your pilot into the universe of Chinese. Let's continue discovering some more characters that's related to this me character, radical rather. So this me is in contemporary Chinese, this flat cover on the top of the frame without the chimney. With chimney is mian, without chimney is me. And of course, without teaching or sharing here, I wouldn't know how those things are pronounced because they never exist on their own. They are like the supporting roles in a movie, never a leading character there. Here in this character, the leading character is 车 at the bottom. That means vehicle or automotive or chariot, however you want to translate it. But the essential meaning of that either is moved by horses or moved by gasoline. The essential feature of that is it got wheels. So that's human invention to move fast horizontally, kind of a sideway going against the restraint of gravity. So this 车, then under this chimney-less cover, what could that be? It means military, pronounced as 军. We covered this character last year, I believe. And if you see the traditional Chinese, it keep the spoke, the wheel, rectangularized wheel in there. And if you look at 2,000 years ago, 许慎 dictionary, 说文解字, that this wheel is kind of a circular, that you can see the rounded corners, even if it's not a perfect circle. I mean, back then, who can draw perfect circle that easy, right? And also to save space, we squash in a vertical direction, so it became an oval shape. So this vertical line puncturing through is the axis where the wheel would sit on, and then the two horizontal lines would be the stoppers. I call them stoppers to keep the wheels in place so they don't fall off the spoke or the axis. So this is a super simplification of what a carrier or some traveling tool with wheel. Here only drawn single wheel, like a cart. But I guess it can imply multiple, any vehicles with wheels. One or multiple, up to 4, I guess, back then, at least in the past technology. Then if you look at here we have this cover, right? But it came from this wrapper imagery, which looks like a giant question mark with almost closed at the bottom, and then with a chimney on the top too. So it did have chimney, but it's different from the mian, which is a big arch with a chimney on the top. That's like human shelter official. But this thing is even more enclosed with a tiny bit of opening over here. So that by itself means wrapper. And Chinese create characters like wrapping with this character. And we put like little fetus thing to mean like babies in the making. It's kind of wrapped inside. So here we have this wrapping plus this vehicle together. Why? It means military. That's related to ancient military technology. So military technology has been evolved so fast, right? And it's almost hard to imagine for a contemporary audience to imagine in the past how two parties fight. So vehicles back then was this chariot, normally drawn by horses or probably fast-footed soldiers, and they were placed around a campsite of this, because in the middle of campsite there will be tents, right, for I would imagine because I've never been to one, obviously. And in the movies portrayed a battlefield in the past, that would be the imagery, right? Little tents of guys in there, soldiers. And then these vehicles are supposed to wrap around the middle to provide kind of a sort of a protection. Because I would imagine the vehicles, because it's bigger, it's sturdier, so it serves kind of like a barrier for chivalry from your enemy side. So in case you hunker down, go to sleep, of course there will be people wake up to stay alert, but then your enemy cannot attack you while majority of you guys asleep. So by placing this chariot around it, almost like a temporary city, fortress built around. So that was used as ancient technology as a barrier layer. So that is the chariot wrap around this campsite to protect the sleeping soldiers. Okay. And that becomes military. And when I translate as military in Chinese, 军, we don't differentiate. Does it mean one person, a warrior, or a whole collective of foot soldiers, or the technology of military? So there's no distinction. This 军 can mean anything. It depends on the context, what it paired with. And then it's kind of pinned down. I often use this double locking imagery. We at least use two characters to provide mutual context to each other so that we have a clear understanding of which direction you're talking about. Okay, examples. 溃不成军, 溃. We use, if you know a little bit, here is the water sign that we already covered this year. That 溃 means water bank. Got flooded, got overflown. And 溃不成军, 军, apparently the way the layout of the army would be with chariot protected, right? So it's kind of in shape. And everybody knows their position. So that's the expected shape of this army or this troop. And 溃不成军 means it was attacked and dispersed into this chaotic shape, that it was no longer in its original setup, and communication, coordination gets difficult. And I guess most importantly is the confidence, the safety, the sense of they know what they're doing got interrupted. And so 溃不成军 described the scenery of this normally surprise attack by the enemy, that 成军, so 溃 got dispersed or kind of like overflown, the water bank, flooding imagery. 不成军, not form. This 军 means in shape, where a well-positioned array of soldiers that's in shape. So 军, if we know now, the original meaning of 军 means things are carefully placed, positioned, so it's in shape. That's the expected 军. 溃不成军 describes exactly the disruption. You destroy the shape, and then you destroy the confidence. And you kind of break the integrity of this troop. All right. 领军人物领. 领. Normally in today's Chinese, we use 领 to mean the collar or around the collarbone. And also it means leadership. And the leadership came from this head imagery and order. So use your head as the thing that gives order. And we use that as a leader, follow your head, okay? And then 领军 means the leader of the military. 人物. We use, that's an interesting phenomenon. I didn't really check up ahead of time about this because it was such everyday language. 人, person, generic, right? 物, things. Normally not humans. So anything that's not human, including animals, including stones. So here we have two things. One is ox, that's animal, livestock, and the wu is was originally the flag symbol. So it could be both flag representing things, man-made things, and ox represent just man-kept livestock. So all that are, we can regard it as tools or related resources to be used by humans. So 人物 together somehow make that person stand out, not just a regular person, unnamed person. 人物 becomes almost like equivalent of the 8 girl in English, right? Because like 8 implies non-humanness. However, associated with the girl means that's distinctive girl. Same thing. 人物 means when a person becomes almost like got its own brand, got its distinction, that we can almost regard it as some sort of resources, as if it's a livestock or flag, because each serves certain function and purpose, and then that becomes 人物, kind of equivalent of English figure. So 领军, leading military figure, is not limited to military. 领军 simply means top tier in whatever industry, and 人物 is this figure, distinctive figure. All right, 异军突起. 异 means not from your tribe, somebody else that looks similarly enough but different, that you can identify by just the look of it. I mean, for example, in America, at least racial profiling, right? Just by the surface, a lot of bio information, you can tell if this is from the same origin or not. So 义军 means somebody different, right? 军, again, a group of them, banded together, can be applied both in military or commerce or business, corporation. So 义军 means it's not somebody who is from your same industry. 突起, all of a sudden, surprising. 起 means rise, come to prominence. 异军突起 example would be like Netflix. Not in the media industry, but all of a sudden, from this tech world, that's 异军, not from your same ecosystem. And then 突起, all of a sudden, start to replace, kind of attract, siphoning your audience away, get your dollars, kind of eating a lunch situation. So 异军突起 describes exactly that. It's people you're not expecting to attack you because there seems to be a different world, but all of a sudden come to end the way things used to work. So this is 军, a little bit wordy today. Excuse me for that. See you next time.